Hi, Jason. How are you?
Very well, sir.
All right. I got the famous Jason Abrams with me today, and we're going to talk about team leaders, right? You and I, we have this conversation amongst ourselves, and you and I both look up and both having been team leaders, and it's kind of shocking to you and I that more and more people don't see that as the best opportunity since sliced bread. It always shocks me. So anyway, thanks for giving me your time today. Let's just dive into this. You were a team leader.
Yeah, proudly, right? But and what you just said, like I literally wake up at night and I ask that question, which is like, why isn't this the preferred path? Not the secondary path. Why isn't this the preferred path to learn all of the things that you would need to learn to be successful in life and business?
What's like getting an MBA in business? I mean, if you in the real estate industry, as much if not more than any other industry, being a manager, if you want to call it that for a second, in a real estate general brokerage, oh my gosh, you're gonna get it all. And here's the big thing about it, the big reason, and that's because of the entrepreneurial nature of real estate, and because it's so entrepreneurial and it's so competitive. Right. And at the same time, your actions, you as a team leader, you have the ability to move mountains. It's not like you need a $1 billion RD department behind you in order for you to be able to do your job and be successful. You yourself can go look at the market, judge what's going on, come back, assemble a plan, help your people execute, help them hit their goals at the same time you're hitting your goals, right?
Well, it's the ultimate change position for the ultimate change agent, which is how I've always thought about it. And I woke up one day and I was, fairly successful in doing what I was doing, listing and selling. And I looked up and I realized that there was a difference between succeeding and leading, and that I had a really low leadership acumen. And I asked the question, I said, well, if I was going to, progress in life, I was going to need to learn to lead, and not just 2 or 3 people, but I wanted to learn how to lead a lot of people and influence. And I said, well, so what's my avenue to do that? And you look up, and I don't know if everyone watching this understands the history of it, but when I started in 20 plus years ago, there wasn't a team leader position. Like, historically speaking, it was an office manager, and they were kind of in charge of compliance. And it was usually somebody who got an override, but then worked on their own production. And it was like this kind of like weird melding of like compliance and guidance. And everyone says, well, you guys have had so much innovation at KW, but I don't think they look at the team leader position as what was one of the original innovations, which was, we're going to actually call it a team leader. We're going to actually have that person not be in full-time competition with their agents. We're going to have that person dedicated to coaching, consulting, and growing an office. And those things we all take for granted now, but you all have no idea. That was like blasphemy to the industry. And and the managers at other companies, and I'm not going to name our competitors, they didn't understand what it was. And I watched a couple of people who were successful managers at other firms try to come into that role, and then within 3 months in my local market wash out because that wasn't the job.
That's right.
And I looked up and I saw it and I was like, wait a second. You mean I get to go out and I get to share the story that I feel is changing my life with other people? I then get to pour into this top 20%. I then get to dedicate a portion of my time to being educationally based and then get to teach. And I then get to participate in a profit model without having any of the financial risk. And that's kind of the way that I saw it.
Oh, yeah.
I looked at it as the greatest opportunity on earth. And I'll be honest with you, and this is going to sound strange to some of the people listening, I kind of still do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I still think of myself as a team leader, by the way.
I've heard you say that.
Yeah, I think of it that way. It was in the role of real estate office sales management team leader. Man, some of my happiest times. It's also.
What do you think that is?
Oh, well, grassroots. I was working one-on-one, at the same time working one-on-many, to help people directly in their lives. If you want to learn the true lessons of how no one succeeds alone, you'd go apply to be a team leader for 5 years, and think of it as an MBA program that you're going to get. Instead of you paying, they're going to pay you. And the truth is that at the end of the course, at the end of 5 years, if you've done a really good job, you have a job for life. You at a very high pay level, not at a low pay level, at a the money that you're making at that level, if you succeed at a high level, Jason, is the same net money that top agents make.
And to be candid with you, not only is it the same money, but it experiences less variation.
It's in the top 1%.
Yes. Yes.
If you're at that level, you're earning in the top 1% of what real estate agents make.
Well, and I think that right now, and it's something that I carry heavy, but I had an agent say to me the other day, they said, I'm not really sure where the next opportunity for me lies. And we could talk about opportunity, because it's no one's job to make one for you. It's your job to identify the one that you want. But going along with that, I look up and I see, and I don't know, you tell me if I'm wearing rose-colored glasses, because I see more opportunity in KW today than it ever had when I was coming up, simply by nature of size and natural business aggression, because we don't want to stop, and competitive nature, meaning now you got 800 plus offices that need the best talent in the world. And so you anyone that thinks that we're actually limiting opportunity, I scratch my head. I don't understand.
Here's the thing. Here was one of the gifts. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Here's one of the gifts I discovered, and that was, I didn't have a child until my 30s, and by that time I had been in sales management, if you will, a long time. And I learned parenting. Right? Helping an adult is no different than helping a child. Helping a child is no different than helping an adult.
Wow.
But by the time my child showed up, I had over a decade of experience. A decade of experience in helping other people get the most out of their life. And I was able to immediately take all of that I had learned, right, and then apply it to that young man's life. And that was my journey to it. Didn't plan it to be that way, but I look back now and I go, what a blessing, right? One of the big challenges that an agent would have is they would look up and they would say, well, how am I going to learn how to be a business person? And I would say, well, one path, by the way, is to go be one. Well, how would I do that? Take that job right there. Go take that job and learn how to develop people. You're going to learn money. You're going to understand a P&L and margin, right?
You're going to have to, right?
Yeah. You're going to have to understand money, right? And you're going to have to understand how to recruit and develop people. And what you do with that afterwards is up to you. Because a lot of people say, well, how? In fact, I got asked that question this morning by an amazing individual. And he asked me the question. He said, and it took me 10 years to, in my mind, master real estate sales. How long do you think it's going to take me to master business? And I said, well, a long time, unless you speed it up. What do you mean? Well, let me ask you a question. In that 10 years, did you get up every day and work on being a salesperson? He said, yeah. I said, did you lead generate every day? Yeah. Did you learn your scripts and dialogues, your presentation, hone your knowledge? Every day you got better and better at that, right? I mean, you put in all your focus was on that, right? He goes, yeah. How much time are you putting on being a business person? Because if it took you 5 years or 10 years to be a great salesperson, and you did that 8 hours, 9 hours a day, my question for you, buddy, is how long you, at the pace you're going right now, you answer the question. And he thinks about it and he goes, maybe never. And I went, whoa, that's going to cost you a lot of money.
Wow.
I mean, if you could, if they had the most amazing program on the planet that you could go enroll in right now, that would absolutely fast track you to understand money management and understand people, would that be worthwhile to you?
Of course.
Yeah. Well, by the way, they call that a team leader position. Go take it.
Yeah.
And they say, well, what do I do with my sales business? So, what do you mean? This is going to make you do it better because you can't cheat.
That's exactly right. And you know, the things that I found interesting about it was you have some people that would look up and they'd say, well, coaching my top 20%, that's something that I have to do. And in my mind, I'm thinking like every one of those conversations is actually your experience into their business, which means if you're doing it the right way, then indirectly you're a business consultant across 20 or 30 different businesses, which means you're learning at this amazing rate. The same reason, and if I get it wrong, tell me, but I remember 10 years ago, you interviewing me for Agent Mountain. And I thought it was for me. And now years later, I realized you were doing a lot of those interviews, not only to highlight the people that were in the company that had earned that, but you were using that as your sport and your research. And I'm thinking, my gosh, that's what coaching the top 20%, that's the gift of that for the team leader.
That's the gift.
And when I talk to agents now who I think are looking at that path and they say, well, look, I don't want to wake up every day and just recruit. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I hear that. And recruit is just another word for compete. I want to wake up every day and I want to compete on every different level because I believe in what I have here. And I want to look at the full metric and then try to make people's lives better. I choose to do that by bringing them into our company and then coaching them.
Well, here's the thing. The business is this journey of I do it, we do it, they do it. So over here, after 5 or 10 years as a salesperson, you pretty much may have mastered the I do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How good are you at they do it?
It's hard. That's hard.
That business is they do it. Now, a self-employed business is we do it. But they do it is a whole different thing, man. It's a whole different thing. Right.
Yeah, I don't think you ever are going to hear like a Nick Saban wake up and say, I don't like the recruiting part.
Well, here's the thing. Well, yeah, no, of course not. Well, by the way, recruiting is easy when you have something to recruit to.
Yes.
So this idea that recruiting is hard, that's a joke. It's not hard at all. I mean, if you have something to recruit to, you'll find people that want that. But here's the thing again, is you're going to get really good at something if you wake up every day and you have to put in 8 hours of developing people, finding people, going into business with people and working with people. What are you going to know on the backside? And look, it's like, again, I had several conversations this morning and it all comes over here to this side of people. And I'm looking at these individuals and these are really amazing individuals. They're on the slow path. Why? Because they're sales agents. And they're only hiring 5 people. They're only hiring 15 people. They're not hiring a lot of people. This is why real estate agents get challenged, because they go to hire an assistant. They don't hire an amazing one, but they hire a good one. Then they become part of their business family and they live with them. Look, no offense. Do not call yourself a business person.
No, that's a practice. And we take nothing away from that. But
Nothing
it's a totally different skill set.
No, if you want to be a business person, then go immerse yourself into a fast track program that will turn you into a business person.
Well, yeah, and I was thinking about it last night in preparation for this discussion. And I asked myself the question, I said, let's pretend for a second that the ecosystem that you're a member of didn't exist today. Make a list of all of the different businesses where someone would put you in charge of 100 to 300 people. in any org chart.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, I couldn't think of any. Like, and then I thought about, I thought about something that you've been saying my whole life, which is that the path of any successful business follows the personal growth of that business's leader. And then you're forced to have this realization that, and I think you and I still have them today, which is the key to this is I'm missing a person if I need it to break through. If something isn't working, I'm missing a person. And this all comes back to our interpersonal relationships and how we find and then deal with people. This job, if you want to call it that, and I would call it a lifestyle, this is the only fast track that I can think of to becoming a people Jedi. Because I don't know another business where someone's going to put you intimately involved with 300 others in an org chart and you at the top of it tomorrow.
Well, I mean, Keller Williams Realty International only has about 300 people.
Yeah, right.
So when you think about a real estate office that might have 300 or 400 people, Jason, you're talking about the same size.
It's amazing to think of it.
It's the same size, right? But the thing is that where are you going to get the opportunity to recruit and develop and live with that many people? If you want, like you said, if you want to become a Jedi at the no one succeeds alone world, how are you going to do that? And I promise you, again, I've been doing this for 40 years. It's a long, maybe never path for real estate agents to really get this. The ones that get it are the ones who just challenged themselves to build really big agent businesses and go through the trials and tribulations and all of that. There's a fast track. Fast track is you've got a good team. You're doing great business. Great. Now, put someone in charge of that. Go be a team leader for about 5 years. Make that commitment to that MBA program. You will come out a different person. You will come out with skills you never knew even existed and understandings about people that you never understood before.
Absolutely. And the truth of it, and not to beat a dead horse and to close this thing, but if you did that, the amount of opportunities that would find you has no end. Meaning, because I was talking to someone in YP and they said, okay, so if I go crush it as a team leader, then what? And they were like trying to literally build out their path. And I said, look, I love the question, but here's the truth. You go crush it as a Keller Williams team leader, and on a monthly basis, someone's going to be calling you for opportunity. And the problem won't be finding opportunity. The problem will be deciding which opportunity fits best with your life journey.
Yeah, well, maybe the opportunity is to take what you learn and go back and now build your sales business. Or, by the way, do it simultaneously and not have to worry about the paycheck.
Yes.
The truth of the matter is that one of the things that holds agents back from having bigger businesses is their lifestyle or the expenditures they have matches the income they have, which means they never have money to invest in the business. You want to fast track your sales company? You want to fast track your knowledge about business? I promise you, I mean, this is the path I went on, man. I was good at sales. I was really good at sales and enjoyed it. Got into management and it was like, oh my gosh. By the way, I learned more about sales. And we've seen people like our good buddy Chris Juarez, right? They go out and do that job and then they go right back into, right? Cody Gibson, people like that. And they go right back into sales and they're never the same.
That's what really surprised me because I was thinking about this. A lot of the people that I would consider mainstays within the company right now have went down that path. And then I was thinking about 2 weeks ago when we did the top team leader mastermind together. I'll tell you what, you go through that top 100 list, the business acumen of those folks, I'd take the Pepsi challenge against them and a ton of CEOs from significantly larger companies because of the way that they've been forced to grow in that role.
Oh yeah. That's exactly. It's just a fast track, Jason. It's a fast track, and you do it well. And it would allow, if you had a sales business, you do it well. The job is going to pay your lifestyle living expenses, which allows you to take all the money that your sales team is doing and put it back into that business to grow it. And what you're learning here, you apply there, and what you're learning there, you apply here. it's amazing thing. And when you say, well, what would be my next move? Your next move is what you should have been doing all along. Take that knowledge and understanding and apply it to your sales business. A lot of people get that all wrong. They go, well, what would that be a path to? And I go, how about being a smarter person? How about a path to being a better business person? How about a path to, by the way, over that 5-year period, being able to invest 100% of every dollar your sales business makes back into that business? What would that business look like if you could invest all that money back there because you're good here? What would that look like, Jason? What if you never had to take a dime out of your sales business for 5 years? How about 10 years? You never had to take a dime out. You literally just put the money back in and back in and back in and kept building and building by hiring another person. How do you become a great business person? Hire another person. Hire another person. The average real estate salesperson, even a good one, may only hire 3 or 4 people, 5 in their lifetime. That's all. Mm-hmm. By the way, that would be like going on 5 listing appointments.
Yeah, you wouldn't be.
That's the equivalent of knowledge.
Yeah.
And or I've only worked with 2 people, right? Or I made an amazing hire my first time and I never hired anyone else.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? I still remember sitting in the back of the room of a Howard Brinton seminar, bless his heart. And I was in the back of the room of this auditorium, and at the front there was a stage. It had tons of these amazing real estate salespeople on the stage, and the topic was hiring. And what was fascinating is they were pontificating, but half of them had hired their kids. And I'm sitting in the back of the room going, oh my gosh, does anybody see this? Really what's going on is they should just be saying, have good genetics.
Yes.
Right? Because I later got to know those people on the stage. They weren't good at hiring at all, Jason. And yet Howard had put them on stage as the epitome, as the role model of the best business-minded hiring in the industry. And I'm going, it is very rare, no offense, it's very rare to find a group of real estate agents who understand how to really hire and how to develop people. Mm-hmm. And it's not because they're not brilliant. I mean, our industry is its middle name should be brilliant. I mean, the salespeople that at least I'm with are just the most amazing people. They all struggle, however, with their business acumen. And the reason is because in order to have a good sales career, they didn't need to hire a lot of people. When you experience hiring greatness and you get to ride shotgun with greatness, you're never the same. You never look at people the same again, right? All it takes is for you to ride shotgun. If you want to look at the lives and analyze the sales decisions of 300 salespeople, right? 400, whatever it is, over let's just say a 5-year period, how smart do you think you become?
Oh my gosh. And if you pour into that as the consultant and you're constantly bringing new people, I'm always amazed when you and I do recruiting appointments. Even now, we hear about a model that we've never heard of. This happened to us the other day. We were interviewing this sales agent from a different company. She told us about a model that we had never heard about before. And now we're researching it. And we got off the phone and said, man, that's really smart.
Yeah. So think about it.
If that doesn't turn you on, then I don't know. You might be missing it already. But
Well, think about it this way. I wrote the book on it, and I didn't write it because I was selling it, right? I did sell, but I wrote the book because I had been in the team leader role, and I had ridden shotgun with all of these amazing individuals. And I learned by watching and trying to help them and seeing what they did right, what they did wrong, what worked, what didn't work. And then over time, seeing how that played out. That's how I wrote the book in 90 days. I wrote it out of my spiral notebook, right? Out of my spiral notebook, man, out of my observations from just trying to help people, right? After a while, you get really, really good. And right, yeah, it's like you hit the mother lode. You get to look into the lives and the experiences and the highs and the lows and the rights and the wrongs of so many people. You become the accumulation of all that knowledge. So right now you're walking around with the knowledge of yourself and your life. You've mastered your game. But at the highest level, you want to master the game if you want to be the best. And if you're only playing your game, you never master the game.
That's the beauty of that.
Never master it. There's just no way to do it. It's just an impossible. And doesn't mean you're not amazing. Doesn't mean to have an amazing life. It doesn't mean any of those, that you don't have any of that. It doesn't mean that. But if you want to play at the highest level, if you really do, if that's what drives you, right?
I heard an agent ask you the other day, it was a team leader actually, and she said, how do I get better with command? And you said, oh, it's real simple. Just go do it. Then do it every day. And the simplicity of that, that's the brilliance of it. And so you want to master people, you want to master pipeline, you want to master recruiting, you want to master business on a different level. There's no faster way than being a team leader. And
yeah, there should be a waiting list. I mean,
there should be a waiting list
in the industry, right? Whether they're with Keller Williams or not outside of Keller Williams. Keller Williams is literally, as a team leader, is the opportunity to get an MBA. The way that we operate, the way our businesses operate, it's at the top of the game of sales business, if you will.
Yeah, well, I was looking out and I was talking, I look around the people around me on your executive leadership team right now, and I'm looking at Mark King, and I'm looking at Matt Green, and I'm looking at you, and I'm looking inward, and we were all team leaders. And then I'm looking at the regional positions and the same thing, and I'm thinking there's something going on here. And then you look up and realize that in a way we enter into a social contract with anyone that takes that role, which is we're going to train you to be business Jedi. And we actually have created course curriculum to do just that. And then you get that kind of on-the-job training.
Well, the truth is that I was a sales manager, team leader for the largest firm in our city for a good while, and then I management made some decisions I didn't agree with, and I quit. And and the owner said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Well, I'm going back in sales. I'm going to sales with what I now know." I'm going back. And unfortunately, he said, how much money would it take to keep you? And I thought, I wrote down a number that he'd never paid before, and he agreed to pay it. And,
you must have been surprised.
Yeah. So I got pulled back in as the vice president of expansion for the company because, I was actually. I walked out and went, golly, be careful what you ask for. I should have asked for twice that amount, right? What would he have said to that? I have no idea. But, didn't turn out well for him. He probably should have figured out how to keep me.
Yeah.
But, Yeah. This is a good conversation.
Well, so hey, I got a question for you though to wrap this thing up. Okay. If I'm out there and I watch this thing and I look up and I say, you know what, I'm interested in that, or that sounds like for me. Because here's like I was asking myself before when I said, what would I love to come out of this conversation? I would love a bunch of people to look internally and decide that their fastest path to get where they want to go is in that role, because I truly believe that.
Yeah, I would go to their regional director. I'd call you. I'd call Matt Green or Mark King. I'd go to that level, and I would say, what team should draft me?
Yes,
I would play that game. I would say, where do you think I should go? Where would you want to go? Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, what would you pay to be a team leader for a business I owned? What would you pay in order to work directly with me? I don't answer the question, but you see my point.
Yeah.
We have amazing owners. We have amazing regions. It's the fast path. It's the fastest way to launch your business life is to do that. We would love for people to kind of turn their head a little bit and realize what this opportunity really would mean in their life, and come join us on that side of the business as well.
Yeah, I guess jump in. The water's fine. That's how I would close it.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.